Hello everyone, my name is Javin and this is my YouTube channel. And today what I wanted to talk about is with the return of Shining cards with Shining Legends, obviously a special set, kind of a one-off deal, but basically taking the Shining cards from some of the Neo sets around when the second generation was coming out, the Shining cards, and kind of doing a new take on those Shining cards. And so, today I kind of wanted to present an idea to you that I would love to see happen in the trading card game. I would love to see a special set based around the E-Series in Pokemon's history. So, basically, what the E-Series is, and also in the early EX series as well, is they are cards with a dot code pattern on them. Here you can see them up close. Okay, so they have a dot code pattern and they have them on the bottom, on the sides, and what these cards would do then is you would swipe them through the e-reader, which was a Game Boy Advanced add-on. It would plug into the cartridge slot, and you would swipe these cards through, and it would unlock Pokédex entries, and also, for some of the cards, it would unlock different mini-games that you could play with that Pokemon e-reader accessory and using these cards and dot patterns. So overall, there was some really cool functionality with these E-Series cards, and it kind of added an extra layer that you could do with the cards. You could have these little mini games and look at the Pokédex entries and kind of tie it in with the card game if you weren't so much into playing. It was kind of a cool collecting aspect too. But alas, I don't think it was a big success, and the main reasons why, I did have an e-reader as a kid, but most kids I knew didn't have an e-reader. It was not a very popular accessory, to say the least. And I would say Pokemon cards were probably the main thing that you could do with it. I mean, there was like some things with some of the Mario games or other cards, like a Mario Party type card game too, you could play on it, but overall, the e-reader just was not a very popular accessory, and not only did you need to have the e-reader, you also had to have a Game Boy Advance too to make all of this work. And on top of all of this, in a certain way, Pokemon was on a decline. I would say, Generation 1 and 2, it was just, crazy success, and kind of come around Generation 3, a lot of the kids started kind of growing out of Pokemon. And for the card game and the Pokemon games themselves, while the cards and the games were very cool and still popular, it just wasn't at that same peak, that same hype, that same Pokemania thing that everyone was going on about. So it kind of leveled off and dipped down a little bit during this time period. So not as many people remember these cards as much as fondly as some of the earlier Wizards of the Coast cards. But with the advent of modern technology, I think that they could make a very awesome set, a homage to the E-Series of past, similar to the way that they did the Shining Legends set, which is one of my favorite sets. Obviously, all this is speculation and just kind of things I would like to see personally, but if it ever did happen, I called it here first. So basically, I would see this set, if they did like a homage to the E-Series, is just kind of like a single standalone set, similar to Shining Legends, just an expansion set, smaller than one of the main series sets in between. That would mean probably not doing booster boxes, but just doing more collection boxes. Now, the way that they would make these cards work and have similar functionality to the E-Series cards of past is, instead of having an add-on that you would attach to the 3DS or something like that, they could either do it implemented with smartphones, kind of like a QR scanner type technology where you can use your phones to scan the cards in and either unlock some mini games or get Pokédex entries for those cards. So basically, with the QR type technology, that you could download some sort of app, like a Pokemon card scanner app, especially since Nintendo has now gotten into making apps and games on mobile devices. I think that makes it much more likely that something like this could come to fruition. And basically, you take your phone, take the card, line up either whether it be some sort of dot pattern or just taking a picture of the whole card and matching it up, and then it basically scanning it into the app or on the device that you are using. And then from there, it could unlock a type like a Pokédex entry. And then you would have that entry unlocked similar to the way the games work. When you capture Pokemon, it unlocks the Pokédex entry. So when you scan in the cards, it unlocks the entries in there. And then once you get certain cards, or maybe you complete a evolutionary line. It could unlock maybe a small mini game type game, and I think that would be really cool. I think that would be an awesome idea. Obviously, it would take a lot of work to do something like that. In doing something like that, they could also address some of the limitations of the e-reader and you know, the holographic cards in English. You couldn't read them with the e-reader because the holographic pattern would mess with the dot pattern, something like that. But anyway, so you couldn't swipe them and use them in the e-reader machines. So possibly they could be even better than those cards in the sense that you could scan in holographic cards, or if they add GXs or whatever else they had in the sets, you could scan those in as well and not have those same limitations. And I was thinking to myself as well, if they wanted to go a separate route, they could actually implement something with the cards and the Nintendo Switch. And basically the idea would then be that similar to other cards that have been released, like these Animal Crossing cards, they have a little NFC chip that can be read by like the new 3DS or the Nintendo Switch, the Wii U. Those all have NFC capabilities. So if these cards had an NFC chip, you could place them on the systems and it would read those cards. And I think since they already are able to fit like these Animal Crossing cards into this form factor, they could do something similar with the Pokemon cards. I don't know if it would be possible to implement them in the form factor of the Pokemon cards as they are now, but they could probably figure something out. But the idea would be pretty similar to the phone, except instead of using scanning, you'd be using that NFC technology. You'd have some sort of app or game or whatever that you would take the Pokemon cards and then you could scan them in by placing them on the NFC scanning area. So obviously I think the smartphones would be a little bit more accessible for people because there are more people that have smartphones than have Nintendo Switches. But on the other hand, this is the Nintendo console. It has been very popular, and you wouldn't need a separate accessory if they did something like that NFC chip technology. So I do see that as being another possibility for an idea like this, if it ever did happen. So let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinions because I know the E-Series sets are not a lot of people's favorites, but I personally really do like them. I have a taste for them because they were kind of, when I was collecting, probably about half my collection is actually from the E-Series sets. So let me know if you would like to see a return, kind of paying a homage, a tribute to these sets, similar to the Shining Legends sets, paying a tribute to those Neo sets with the Shining cards. Yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you think about something like that. If you'd like to have the ability to scan in Pokédex entries or play little mini games on the different cards. And also whether you think that you'd rather see the technology implemented as an app for your smartphone or something related to the Nintendo Switch instead. Lots of things to think about here, just kind of throwing out this idea, something I would love to see personally. I don't know about anyone else, but thank you everyone for watching. I thought it would be really interesting to talk about this. I've been thinking about it a lot. I think they should just give me a job making the Pokemon cards and everyone would be happy.